Bro, the email that you just gave me isn't even the email that I can clearly see on your account right there. Bro, the email that you just gave me isn't even the email that I can clearly see on your account.
I don't know why YouTube like made those emails.
So it's Sten Wangsgard at Gmail without the dot?
Yeah, Google doesn't care either way.
What do you mean Google does? Okay, well then I already invited you. I'm gonna add another one, Sten Wangs. I like that you say it doesn't care, like those aren't two different Gmail accounts. You sound like my parents right now.
They're not. Like Gmail, it doesn't care if you put that or not.
You put a period in it.
No, it's the same email. Gmail ignores any kind of like punctuation. You can even do like I could do sendlink or dash el at gmail.com and it will look at it as the same thing.
Okay, I just invited you again to both emails, apparently. You should have gotten a notification via email, which then you can click on.
My email's just like spiraling. Hold on a second.
Spiraling out of control. I don't. What's weird is I feel nervous. I just haven't done it in so long, and I don't have everything set up. I'm gonna go through after I'm done tonight and set it all back up.
Yeah. Funny, I thought you would have been like practicing even without me.
I mean, yeah, I should have been. It's just not been the day for that, I guess.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Um,
Yeah, no emails yet. I don't know. Did I typo it?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm just gonna fucking send it.
Yeah, totally. Well, be glad.
What'd you say?
Talking my dog.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get off here then. Actually, here I'm gonna make this public. Done. Save. Now I'm gonna send you this link. Actually, that same link should work now.
Okay, it's working. Let me put it on my tablet though. Okay, say something.
Just try put. Oh, you want me to say something?
Yeah.
I think there's like a crazy delay.
Yeah, there is. Like, probably 10 seconds.
Oh no, that's way better than before. Okay, I'm getting off here.
Okay.
Damn, how's there already 11 people in here? Y'all are fast. I'm still putting up the posts about this right now. Give me just a second, guys. I mean, technically we're early anyway, because I wanted to have everybody have time to get in here. Chris, shoot me a message. Wait, where'd that go? Oh, this is the chat froze. Can't even type in my own chat. Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me okay? It's the other thing I probably should have tested beforehand. Swell. Dying, guys. Second here. Try to pull this message back up. Loud and clear. Seems fine, and oh, I'm doing great. Kind of. I'm honestly a little bit disappointed in myself. I was going to get this set up a lot better, and I just kind of ran out of time. So the next one will have a lot more of the old design and some of the other cool stuff that used to be applied to this. I just wanted to get into doing a live Q&A again because I haven't done one in, forever. It feels like forever at least. I don't know exactly how long it's been. I had to go through and figure out all my streaming software again. It was a real bummer. Technically we're not starting for another 5 minutes, but if you guys do have questions, you're welcome to ask. If you've never been to one of these Q&As, at least from me, I assume they're like every other Q&A that's ever happened. You guys are free to ask any questions. Oh, if you can't type in the chat, it's because you do have to be subscribed to the channel to be able to comment. I don't know how to turn that on and off yet. They changed a bunch of the settings on YouTube. So that'll be another thing that I'll be fixing. Along with literally everything else, actually. There's a ton of things that need to be resolved with this. But any questions that you do have, and I'm probably going to do this. I always said before I'd do them for like an hour, and I always went way longer. I'm probably only going to do this for an hour. Unless there's just nobody in here and the questions die out. What state do I live in? Washington State. I live just south of Seattle in Washington. When I started this channel, and technically I started powder coating, and I was in Utah. So I know that there's still some confusion with stuff like that. I live in Spanaway. Oh, okay. Yeah, Kelso. Yeah, there's like I don't powder coat in the city that I live in, but there's one big powder coating shop right up the street from me, or the first industrial area you come to at least. And then there are multiple garage powder coaters in this city. Some of their equipment has been up for sale the last couple of weeks. I noticed somebody selling 2 different ovens and a blast cabinet and some other stuff. So I just realized that I was watching my own live on a delay that I set. Nice. Garage shop is how I started. That's the move for sure. I asked them a couple questions about their equipment and they never replied about any of it, so I just let it go. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit and try to communicate with somebody who actively isn't trying to sell something. God, it feels so weird with this just being me on the screen. I'm so used to it having, stuff to distract you from my face. Michael Sims, what was your first oven or what size? First oven that I had was a Ted's Fabrication. Um, I want to say they called it like a deluxe or something. So they had the base, and then they had the best one, and there was one in the middle. And I didn't get the best one. I got the one that's sort of in the middle, but it had like extra stuff in it. I don't know the right way to explain it, but he called it something else. I don't think they have them on the site anymore. They still have ovens. Mine was a 4x4x6 or roughly 4x4x6 that they sell. It wasn't exactly those, but um, that oven is still operational. By the way, I sold that oven 2 years ago. 2 years ago. That feels insane to say, but I think it was 2 years ago, and that oven is still operational. It's being used by a company called Grid City, which is in I don't know, maybe Lehigh, Utah, somewhere south in Utah. I don't know exactly where. It was somewhere down in Utah County in Utah, south of Salt Lake City. Um, yeah, that oven was a champ. Really, the only thing I ever had to replace in elements over time, and then the PID went out on me two different times, just Auber plain PID. Um, Rich, does green diamond work better than aluminum oxide? No. Well, better how? I prefer it over aluminum oxide and over garnet. Both aluminum oxide and garnet are harder, significantly harder. So it really depends on your pressure setup, like what you're using to blast and what psi you're using in CFM. Um, in a big blast setup, most people only use green diamond for outdoor use because it does break down pretty quick. That's if you're doing high CFM, high psi. So, and most of those people are reclaiming a lot of that even when they spray outside. They're just sifting it, putting it back through their system. For like blast cabinet setups, I love green diamond, and the price alone of green diamond is really, I guess, to me, the biggest selling point. Aluminum oxide or garnet, are both really expensive for blast media. Green diamond, even to this day, you can get, a 50, I think it's a 50-pound bag, or maybe it's a 100-pound bag. I don't even think I remember now. You can get those for, I want to say it's $14 for 3060 green diamond. So I just realized I have way too many versions of myself on this screen. So hold on here. You can see like three different things of me talking. Um, I love green diamond for the price. It's pretty low dust. It doesn't break down unless you get crazy with psi and CFM. I blasted around 50 to 60 psi in a blast cabinet. Um, I honestly don't know what CFM we're utilizing at that point because it is regulated multiple times before it gets down. We have a fairly large compressor. I think it moves 145 CFM. So we're not using anywhere near that by the time it gets through. The pot that we actually use goes through. It's like an old Harbor Freight pot, like from way back in the day. So, um, Michael Sims, gotcha. I built the 6x6 Auburn box looking for equipment. You were the one that was in Kelso, right? I don't know what equipment you're looking for, um, but there was two ovens and a two-person blast cabinet. Two-person blast cabinet was only 4 months old, they claimed, and one side had never been used. They're located in Spanaway. If you email me at ukcarmy@gmail.com, I can contact you through there and send you the link or whatever to the Facebook Marketplace ad. I don't know how else I could get it to you if you can't just find it naturally. I'm having a hard time finding green diamond out here in PA. I actually have heard that before, but let me look at something here because I don't remember who it was. One of the people, I want to say, I think he actually doesn't powder coat anymore. But one of the people, yeah, there is nowhere near PA that sells it. At least according to their website. I know that other people have managed to find it, even if it's not listed in their town. Um, Originally, when I started using Green Diamond, I kind of lucked out. I was 10, maybe 12 minutes away from a huge supplier of Green Diamond. I think it was called Blast Products, and they sold every type of blast media you can imagine, as well as blast equipment and supplies and things of that nature. And they were, just a quick drive away from me. And then same thing here. Moved to Washington. There's multiple places to get it here. So I know it's a little less popular on the East Coast. I think South Carolina and maybe Georgia or Tennessee, somewhere right in there, are one of the only places on the east side that you can actually get it direct from a distributor. That's not to say that it's not accessible from other people. So sorry about that. Um, Damn, Juneau, Alaska, huh? Hey, there's a Polar Supplies who sells green diamond in Alaska. I only know that because the website's open. I actually don't know anything. V Shadow Gallery. Oh. Oh, all right. Well, thanks, V Shadow Gallery. I disagree, but I appreciate the sentiment either way. Bill H. Yeah, it's hard to find. The whole East Coast is tough. I don't know if you guys just hate the environment there or what, because green diamond is a byproduct. It's nickel slag. It's a byproduct, so it's literally one of the best things you could use for blasting. Ray. Oh yeah, you have Ray. You have green diamond up in Alaska. Yeah, it looks like. I mean, really, it's the whole country with the exception of the northeast coast. The Northeast just doesn't have it. Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and then working your way up, you know, into like Maine and all that stuff. It's just not none of the places have it. Standards powder coating job. 36-degree diamond is a wee bit coarse. Well, you can go. They have 4070. To be fair, 4070 is not stocked as much as 3060 is. But there is another thing that they call foundry sand, which is technically 7140. 7140 might not be available at abrasive distributors, but if you call foundry distributors, they will typically have it because it actually is used in foundries. 7140 is one that I have used on big blasting setups when I had to really worry about the profile of, I think I was doing, I want to say it was a set of like Porsche GT3 wheels or something like that. And I was really concerned with the profile, so I went with a really like, fine media at that point. 7140 obviously is very fine. Last I called a distributor, I had to buy a whole pallet. Yeah, I mean that's the thing that sucks is like if you don't have a place that just stocks it, it you know the price makes it not worth it because you're gonna have to pay so much to get it to you. Um, like I said, me kind of lucking out in my two different places that I powder coated, I just had easy access to it. There are other places. I mean, on the East Coast, I've seen guys who buy satchels of it. The big, I think they're 3,000 or 3,500 pounds. They'll buy a whole truckload of it, and to them, it's worth it because the satchels of it are. I think here we pay $7.85 for like 3,000 or 3,500 pounds. So obviously very cheap in that way. But once you have to, send it across the country, obviously your prices are going to go up. It does last longer than silica. Yeah, you shouldn't be using silica at all. Wait, why are you using silica? Silica-based sand? Um, yeah, you shouldn't be using that. You should use almost anything but that, unless you enjoy silicosis. Um, what's the best powder coating unit? Is the best start with if you can't afford a Gima or Wagner? So this is such a tough subject for me. My best advice is get the absolute best gun that you can afford. And when I say that, there are multiple levels to that. Um, I don't think anybody should buy the Harbor Freight gun. I know that there are people who modify them and they say they work great. Um, the Harbor Freight gun just doesn't have enough adjustability in anything because it's not adjustable. And even with the modifications, the small amount of adjustability that you can add is not worth it. I would say at a bare minimum, I've never sprayed with like the red line or the dual voltage stuff from Eastwood. I started with an HSO2. I absolutely loved my HSO2. It was purchased in 2008. It still works like a champ to this day. It's also still being used at that Grid City place that I mentioned. My oven is still being utilized at. Um, Once you modify the hoppers, or in my case, just made new versions of the old school hopper they used to use because their newer versions are just not that good. That gun was amazing for me. I built a whole business on it. So the HSO2 from Columbia Coatings is the Hyper Smooth O2 is the move. Gima is going to be coming down in price. I don't know if I'm even supposed to be saying that part yet because I found out in kind of an obscure way. The Gima is going to be coming down in price. There is a couple other guns that I'm blanking on the name now that have come out since then, or come out in the last couple of years that people are saying are good. I have very little experience or knowledge on any of those. You have options like the Cool Coat, like the Spectra Coat. I believe is just a Hyper Smooth. They're just labeled differently, or at least it appears that way. And then I think beyond, I mean, really, if you can spend $1,000 on a gun, or even anywhere near that, you're gonna be just fine. The only thing that some of the more expensive guns can do um, better is multiple layers. And when I say multiple, I don't mean two. I don't mean a candy. I mean if you needed to put 5 layers on something. They're a little bit better because they're so adjustable. They're a lot better for doing Faraday areas that you have a hard time getting stuff to stick to. Um, Beyond that, the difference that a big gun makes is not great. I encourage everybody to start with a kind of an entry level gun. Something well under $1,000. I think jumping straight up to a Gima, I there's just not you don't learn enough with it, and the gun kind of auto corrects a lot of things for you. And a lot of people think that's good. A lot of people think, well, I don't want to have to learn anything. I can just have this gun do it for me. That's not. I promise that you don't want to learn to powder coat that way, because the second that you are dealing with a problem that your gun doesn't know how to fix naturally, you'll have no idea how to fix it because you've never had to make adjustments or anything to combat the thing that you don't know how to deal with because your gun has always fixed it. So, just a thing to consider. That was a really long answer, but the Hyper Smooth O2 is a great gun from Columbia. I actually, back in the day, had taken a bunch of footage with a bunch of guns doing a comparison, and I ended up losing a bunch of the footage way later. I never edited the video the way I wanted to, and it was too much footage to kind of put together. I've been collecting some units to start that project over again because I do believe a comparison would be beneficial. I'm going to be comparing kind of every gun. I did say, hold on, I need to go back. I did say that I started with an HSO2. That is not true. I technically started with a Craftsman gun. Craftsman guns no longer exist. I don't suggest buying one, but they will be in my upcoming gun comparison. So, just a thing to consider. Man, I need to catch up. Sorry, I just talked for way too long. All right, does last longer than silica. Well, yeah. The thing about silica is it's terrible for the environment and it's terrible for you as a person. It's terrible for humans. So it's cheap. Breaks down really fast, so it's kind of a bummer. Playground sand, well, it used to be playground sand. Then they realized it was killing all the kids. Let's see. I recycle my sands as much as I can. Mix of 5 gallons of new and 5 gallons of used. I mean, whatever works. I guess you're out there in Alaska. There's only like 9 people there technically, so the silicosis isn't going to affect many people. Michael Sims, how did you get your design for your logo? It's absolutely awesome. My original logo was made by me on an airplane at like 2 in the morning. Way before I was ever a powder coater. That's not why I had made the logo. Actually, I made the logo when I was doing design work for a company. I was just messing around. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was delirious on an airplane. It ended up fitting for Unknown Coatings very well, so I just utilized it. If you don't have good knowledge of designing stuff and you are kind of unsure which direction to go, I always tell people go to Fiverr. Be diligent in looking through the fiber ads, though. Don't just go to the cheapest one. And if you look through their logo design stuff, they're almost all identical. I'm sure if you're in powder coating groups, you see these guys that come in and offer powder coating logos, and they all literally look identical to each other, even the same fonts. Try to avoid that. There's way too many people with the same boring mask logo and the same gun. You know, it's just there should be some variety. If you want to stand out, that's a really good way to do it. Is to get a logo nobody else actually has. Um, Whiskey 26. What media would work best to etch chrome? Um, I don't have a good answer for that. So the hardest media that you can get is the best thing to etch chrome. Whatever you have access to, the hardest media. That doesn't mean strongest. Hardest and strongest are two different things. It's a thing that I think a lot of people kind of mistake when they're talking about blast media. Um, the thing with chrome is if you heat it up, it will start to pull the chrome off of the part. If you're just trying to etch it, if you use something very hard and pull your distance a little bit and your pressure a little bit, it'll etch it the best. Chromium, the shiny part that we see on the outside of chrome plating, is one of the hardest metals on the planet. So it is very hard to etch, which is probably why you're asking this question. It's not to say that you can't. It's also a very thin layer. If you can possibly get through that to the nickel layer underneath, nickel also very hard, but it takes an etch a lot better than chrome or chromium, the shiny part. So that's just a thing to consider. I've seen people actually have used like 40 grit DAs and done fairly well at etching chrome. Um, I always suggest having it chrome stripped somewhere. That's definitely the move. If it's Harley Davidson chrome, you can usually just blast it off with literally anything, probably water, because Harley Davidson makes some of the worst quality parts and definitely the worst plating that there is. Trey Brenneman? Struggling with my Eastwood PCS, that's the POS, not being able to adjust microamps. So, Trey, if it were me, I would contact, if you got it from Eastwood and you didn't get it terribly long ago, tell them that you want the new system because the PCS, which is commonly referred to as the POS online, was a huge flop. There was one of the other powder coating channels started with that gun and were bragging it up and telling everybody how great it was. And anybody who watched the videos could see pretty clearly it wasn't a good gun. Um, I don't have much input for that. I know there's a couple videos online where people do go over the Eastwood PCS and the PCS 1000 and show people how to make it work. I haven't watched those because I've never really had to deal with that gun, and I'm mostly anti Eastwood at this point. I just think they're just like the Harbor Freight of online sales. Ray Rusa, I'm using a dual voltage Eastwood, but after this job, I'm really thinking about upgrading. Yeah, dual voltage is a good starter gun. A lot of people really like that gun. I've never used one. The fact that you know, the dual indicates two. You only have two places of adjustment. It's not great. It's going to be better than most other entry level guns, and I think that gun is fairly inexpensive, if I remember correctly. Oddly enough, my neighbor directly across the street from me, I saw one day appeared to be building a powder coating oven, and I went over and talked to him. I'd never talked to him before, and turned out he was, and he has an Eastwood dual voltage. And I actually told him if he needed help, I'd be happy to come help him. So maybe I'll get some experience using the DV in that regard, but I have very little input on it. Eastwood DV is okay. We get what you pay for. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Like as an entry level gun, I've heard that it's a great gun. I just haven't used it, so I'm afraid to give it much input. Surging powder out of the Eastwood. Isn't that that's like a hopper? I think you can modify that, Ray. I think there was like a way to modify something. I saw a video somewhere. I actually meant to post it in the UKC Army group on Facebook. Um, I don't know. You could probably find it on YouTube though if you found this. So, Cool Coat HD is pretty good for starting. Yeah, and like the Cool Coat, the Spectra Coat, and the Hyper Smooth are all, in my opinion, I know there's different levels for each one of those guns, but they're all mostly the same. There's not like a big difference in any of them. The price is different. I noticed that one is more expensive than the others. I'm on my third year with HD. Wait, what's an HD? Oh, the Cool Coat HD. Got it. Sorry. I was like, what's an HD? Royal Coats RC2 is, I've heard, is pretty decent. Rich, I believe the Royal Coats RC2. God, I don't want to say this and be wrong. Let me look. I believe that's just a Chinese gun. It's a clone of a Gima. Let me verify. Oh no, it's not. It is one of the ones that's like a Spectra coat. That's the one. The Spectra coat. It's one of the other guns that you can find on like Powder by the Pound or Columbia Coatings. I don't know much about those. Michael Sims, well, old school with the Craftsman. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I started in 2008. So there was actually just a guy selling a Craftsman gun local to me, and it appeared to be very new. Like, it was very clean still in the case. I tried to buy it from him, and it was already sold. There's another one I found online, but it's like 250 bucks, and that gun was only like $40 new. For those of you who don't know what the Craftsman gun is, it is absolutely hilarious. It was like a hair dryer essentially. It had a fan inside and it had a little tiny hopper that you could put. Like if you could put a quarter pound in of powder into it, I would have been shocked. And it had this little tiny ground. It had a little tiny electrode, and it would use the fan on the back. There was no air input into it, so it would use a fan on the back to blow through the hopper and blow powder out. And it did work. Single coat stuff, dual coat stuff. It was not even. You couldn't even pretend like the second coat was gonna stick. So even shooting it warm, it was not gonna happen. Um, Literally just getting started into this. Do you recommend Eco Strip? Um, Small motorcycle wheel, small part. PLNW, yes. And I actually have a video coming out. I'm actually going to be posting a kind of a video schedule starting in May, so you guys have a better idea what videos are coming out. So maybe it'll help you. You can wait for some of those videos to help you make decisions on stuff that you have, purchases you're considering making. The reason, so the EPA, I believe, announced today or yesterday that methylene chloride based stripper, well, methylene chloride is going to be banned. So 18 months to 24 months, that's not going to be accessible anymore. So you're going to have to start looking at some of these things that are a little more environmentally friendly and honestly more friendly to humans. I do recommend the EcoStrip setup from Express Chem. There's actually some information down in the description of this video. You can contact Matt, tell him I sent you. He can get you set up with that. And I have another video coming out for them, and then when my video comes out, they'll be selling full setups to be able to offer you guys full heated setups to be using EcoStrip or really any other heated product. Michael Sims, we have a small CNC plasma table and trying to learn that side of stuff. I'm close to getting a good logo. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been trying to find somebody local to cut titanium for me, but on a laser. Can't do it on plasma. Plasma and titanium are not friends. Ray, etching chrome sucks. That is 100% true. What up, Tom? Ted's Fab 4x4x6 with cart. Dude, I wish I would have got the cart. I am an idiot. When I ordered my first oven, it's a 4x4x6 from Ted's Fab, I got it on casters. And I told myself, I was like, oh, well, it'd be nice to roll it out and clean underneath it and clean behind it and everything. Never once did that, by the way. Not a single time did I ever do that. And it made it miserable trying to get big, heavy stuff in. I couldn't just roll it into the oven. I had to physically pick it up and put it in. So if I have any suggestion for anybody, it's do not get casters. Get the open floor. And get a cart. A cart that's already made for your oven is great. I've kind of found that carts made for ovens are sort of useful. You'll end up making more carts that are more useful. So if you don't want to spend the extra money on a cart right away, don't. Just make your own. Looks like mine with 3.0 Cool Coat got discontinued. I wonder why. Yeah, I don't know. The KFX1. Isn't that the one that the Muppets were selling? Let me see here. Sorry if the camera shakes when I type, by the way. Oh, the Colo Group. Yeah, so that's just it's like a weird Gima Optiflex replica. Sorry, I should have known what that one was. About the same. 2009, 2010. I started young at a large shop. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's crazy to think that I've been powder coating for. I mean, December of this year will be 15 years, 16 years. So I've been doing it for over 15 years. feels crazy. I don't know. It's also crazy that we're almost at 20,000 subscribers here. Oh yeah, if you guys don't mind, there's like 36 of you in here. If you can hit that like button, that actually puts these lives and the channel stuff out in front of more people to kind of bump up the algorithm a little bit. As you guys have seen, I failed at doing a video a day every day for April. I think I did 20. I want to say 20 out of the 30 days. So not perfect, but pretty good. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Like I said, 2009 subsidy. Best upgrade I did for myself was to buy the 3M VersaFlow helmet. Yeah, that was we. I have a VersaFlow helmet sitting, and the big thing is the way that the way that parts are racked now. I I'm terrified of the extra stuff because I'm fat, right? So that's not helping. But I already have to like work my way through. Um, I have to work my way through the rack without touching it already, and I'm really good at it. My like booth awareness is pretty on point. I keep the hose real tight to me. I just extra stuff like a bigger helmet and more stuff just seem terrifying. The new helmet that I got from, or the new full face mask that I got from Parcel, which I will be doing a giveaway on fairly soon, by the way, a Parcel helmet or full face mask rather. I actually really like it. The one thing I did find, because it's blue tinted, I was spraying some teal the other day, and I was having a really hard time seeing areas that were still light with powder. I took it off and could see them immediately, and pulled it back down, and I was like, oh shit! I think it's just because of the color. Hadn't had that problem on any other color as far as I could tell. Um, but on this, I think it was RAL like 5021 or something like that. It's like a teal color. It was really hard to see. So um, Matthew Miner. I have the RC1. It's fair for the price. Has its quirks you need to work through. The one thing I'll say about any of the guns, and really, I mean, honestly, even up into the Optiflex line and the Wagner Sprints and things like that, even the Versa stuff from Nordson, you're all gonna have stuff that you have to learn. They're all gonna have things like little weird stuff that you're gonna have to learn. Um, the Optiflex stuff when it comes, the settings on it, the presets that they have for flat panels, complicated or complex stuff, and dual coat are pretty good. Obviously, there's some adjustments need made depending on the powder that you're using and how heavy the powder is typically. Um, but there's a bunch of internal settings. I actually have a short in this. I don't know if you guys can see the shorts down below these. There's a short right there called Best Settings for Your Powder Coating, whatever. That shows how to go through and make a tiny little adjustment in the Optiflex stuff, and I think it works on the Chinese guns as well, the Optiflex replicas. That will make a huge difference in your cloud. It'll make it much fluffier, much better every single time. So it's a thing to consider. I don't know how to link it in here. I totally would. Possibly, but not entirely true. They're filing a lawsuit. Maui Powder Works. I don't know who that is. Are you talking about the EPA thing? Yeah, they already had filed one of the lawsuits. And honestly, we don't need methylene chloride based strippers anymore. Like this isn't. They were great for what they are. Anybody who's ever gotten hit on their skin knows it's terrible. I get EcoStrip on my skin occasionally, and I just rinse it off, and it's fine. If you don't rinse it off, it makes your skin a little bit dry in that area, and that's it. So there's just not any point. Build Society, who are the Muppets? They were a group of characters. It doesn't matter. The I was gonna say the Muppets were a group of characters on a popular thing. I think it was on Sesame Street, but now I don't even remember that. I was referring to just another powder coating channel. It doesn't really matter. I don't even think they still powder coat, so it would be wild to like put that back out there into the world. Yeah, I mean, like if you're guessing, you're probably right. Right? It's really that simple. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to turn this into like a bash fest in any capacity. I have no interest in any of that. Yeah, yeah. If you're screaming "Go Peaks," you know what's up. I was this close, by the way, to wearing my Go Peaks shirt. I actually had to go find it because I hadn't worn it in so long. I think I've only worn it like twice since I made it to wear on one of the very first streams that I did with it. I almost did it. I feel like I should bring it back. I do have Go Peak stickers still. I also have these. I'm gonna be doing some giveaway stuff. Not today, guys, but sometimes. I do have. Wait, can I? Oh, yeah. If you guys remember what this is the little powder coat god sticker. I don't think I'm that. I would never in my life call myself that. Somebody else called me that, and I thought it was hilarious. Somebody said it to me mocking me, so I made stickers. Simple as that. Um, I know you're a class act. I don't know if I'm a class act, but I don't want to bash any channels at this point. It just especially ones that aren't relevant. You know what I mean? So, does most people buy from prismatic powders? So yeah, most I would say hobby coders and custom coders are buying almost exclusively from prismatic. Now that's not to say that every powder they get is from prismatic. Um, there's a lot of stuff from Tiger that I really like, although Tiger's customer service has been, I mean, just trash lately. Just absolute trash. Um, and a lot of people like IFS still. You have like your PPG, Exalta, some of those. Um, Matt down at All Powder Paints. I absolutely love Matt at All Powder Paints and all the cool stuff he has. If you guys don't know, I'll put it in here in the chat. Um, there you go. All Powder Paints sells a bunch of really cool powders. He also has a lot of color matches and stuff. And in my opinion, his color matches are a little bit better than Prismatics. Prismatics pretty on the ball with most of their matches, but I've had some that are pretty bad. And then you have other powder suppliers like Cardinal. Currently using a lot of Cardinal, trying to get rid of it. I don't love Cardinal. Um, yeah, and like there's other suppliers like Columbia Coatings, I believe, makes some of their own powder. Powder by the Pound maybe does. I think Powder by the Pound sells more other people's powder. Um, and then you have the Chinese companies who are constantly trying to post in the UKC Army group, and I try to save you guys from seeing most of that. There is a company called Hacienda who does make a really good gloss black and a really good chrome. Um, I'm not going to go too much deeper into that because I don't love Hacienda as a company, and you do have to buy a whole box of it to make the shipping worth it. But they are really good products. Um, Prismatic is good, but their shipping is starting to get outrageous. Yeah, their shipping time has gotten a little bit wild. Their shipping price is whatever. All shipping prices are going up, and so I haven't really seen reason to complain about that. Their shipping times have gotten a little insane. I just All right. How about now? Maybe now. I guess I have to wait. Unplug the mic and put it back in. All right. So the only downside is, I guess the audio's back. I've gotten some messages. Okay, cool. The one downside here is that when I type, it's going to be very loud because it's a different microphone in a different location. So apologize ahead of time. So wait, hold on. What was the last thing you guys heard before the audio cut out? So I can kind of start back over. I'm going to scroll back up, and I know I missed some of your guys' questions and comments here because everybody was telling me the audio was out. Once again, if you guys are in here, please hit that like button. Would help the channel immensely, and it's, you just got to go one time. Let's see here. Let me scroll back. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what you guys heard about Prismatic. All I know is we waited a really long time for some powder. It took forever to ship, and then it took forever from FedEx. We closed at about 4. FedEx kept telling us they would deliver it by 5. We waited till 5, and they still weren't delivering it. And they told us that they tried to deliver it and nobody was there. And that was insane because we have 3... We technically have, 3 bay doors were all open, and there was somebody in the front showroom. So to say that nobody was there is a little insane. We didn't even see a truck. When it did get delivered, it got delivered to the other end of the building. So I don't know if they thought that suite was our suite, and so there was nobody at that suite because they were delivering it pretty late in the day, obviously. It just didn't. And we tried to get them FedEx to hold it so we could just go there and pick it up. And even trying to go there and pick it up, they're like, no, you can't do that. It's like, well, you won't deliver it when we're open and we can't pick it up. That seems pretty ridiculous, obviously. So, all right, let me get back into this. Oh, powder paint. Sorry, I'm catching up, guys. I'm catching up. Tiger coat wouldn't ship to me in Alaska. Oh, that's weird. What were you trying to get from Ray? If you message me, I stock a bunch of the really common stuff from Tiger. I can't tell you that I would have everything. Sorry if the audio just got weird. I'm moving this microphone some. But if you need something in reasonable quantities, I could probably work it out to ship it to you if need be. I can't promise it. I just contact me. Might be an option. Let's see. You have to spend more than $10K to have an account rep at Tiger. Here's the thing. We definitely spend more than $10K. We're buying pallets at a time of powder. We buy matte black and wet black and a couple other... we buy their primer, dry lock primer, and I don't know, a couple other in full pallets, right? So this is not a money issue. I think we spent $12,000 with them in the first 2 months of this year. Also about the time that we started having problems. So we got transferred to... We had a great sales guy named Mike. He left and went to Texas, and I don't know if he's still with the company or not. He was awesome. Best sales guy that I've ever had, honestly, for anything powder coating related. He went down to Texas. We got stuck with a new guy named Randy. Randy has been terrible. The worst, by far, the worst sales rep that I've ever had to deal with. We talked to Randy's boss. I believe his name's Faze or something. Faez, something like that. It's Faez. He's come by the shop with Randy. We've kind of had to throw Randy under the bus a couple times because Randy has been pawning everything off to a guy named Raul. Which I believe is kind of everybody's sales rep. As far as I know, I can name 15 different people that all got the same email saying that this Raul guy was their sales rep. And this Raul guy hasn't been doing a good job either. So we've actually started looking at other options like IFS, just because it's not worth dealing with the hassle. Cardinal doesn't make powder that's good enough for us to continue to buy. So there's that. David Haas, just switched to Mango Clear. Can't believe I waited this long. Right? Yeah, it's the best. Bango Clear is unbeatable in my opinion. The only thing that I've seen that works better, there's a acrylic clear that I love, and I'm 100% just blanking on the name, but I do love that color.
Columbia Coating's Outgas Build Primer is great too. Yeah, I've tried a couple different Outgas primers. I haven't loved any of them. So, uh, they've worked to some degree. They just haven't worked enough that I was in love with the product. Um, Columbia Coatings probably doesn't sell big box stuff in a way that is beneficial. And to be fair, I don't know that to be true. I just assume because they're kind of focused more on like hobby coaters and custom shops. Um, Cardinal is iffy a lot of times. Yeah, Cardinal powder is doo doo. So I remember, I want to say Palmer's powders. He convinced me to try Cardinal, and I think he's actually pretty close to a Cardinal distribution spot. They have a couple colors that I really like BK120, BK08 is a pretty good one. Um, Most of the rest of their product is trash. We've had multiple boxes that we had to send back because we opened them and there was cardboard inside, and not like a little, not like you could just kind of pick it out and everything would work. It was a lot. Um, Colors are really inconsistent. Lots of weird. I mean, I'm gonna say orange peel, and I guess you could blame that on me as an applicator. Um, but I'll buy a RAL from them and spray it and have a ton of orange peel. I'll buy the exact same RAL from Prismatic or Tiger, and there's no orange peel when I spray it. So something tells me that it is a Cardinal thing, not a applicator thing. But who really knows? Richard Webb, hey Sean, been watching your vids. Welcome back, Rick from way back. Well, welcome back, Rick from way back, Richard. I went mute. Oh yeah, now I'm catching up all these things that said that I failed. Sherwin-Williams has been awesome. PNW things. Where are you at? Are you in the Pacific Northwest? I think we are. I think you are. I think I had talked to you before. Sherwin, when I was in Salt Lake City and there was a Sherwin wet rep blocks away from me and I could just go pick up the product, it was awesome for some of the stuff that I wanted. I don't think they have a ton of colors that I'm in love with, but for big box stuff, I'm sure that they cover most stuff. Everybody's telling me there's no audio. Got it. Tell them unplug the mic and plug it back in. Yeah, it's not exactly how it works, unfortunately. I just started running another mic. Obviously, you can hear me now. I just scrolled way too far. I just had to order another 20 pounds from Prismatic. Placed the order on Thursday, but didn't get a tracking number till Monday. Kind of really screwed me. I mean, that's not terrible though, right? I mean, you placed an order on Thursday. You weren't going to get a tracking number over the weekend, so Friday was your first bet. Monday, it's decent unless you paid for like the faster version. I think they're just kind of outgrown themselves to some degree, and that's not to say they can't like recover. I don't think they're in a position where they're going to need to recover from it. Obviously, they have enough business that they're too busy technically. I just think that they kind of outgrew themselves to some degree because it used to be a lot easier to get orders processed and through really quickly, even if you were ordering a lot of different things. Unless you were having to have something crazy made, that always took a couple days. But if you were just ordering 2 and 3 and 4 pounds of different products, even 20 different products, they almost always shipped within a day. 2 days was like crazy. Nothing was ever beyond that. It's not quite that way now. Mike E, they need to go back to UPS for shipping. Yeah, what's weird is ours comes UPS or FedEx. It depends on how much we order. We've realized that it's the size of the box, which I assume has something to do with the weight overall. But certain boxes come through FedEx, certain boxes come through UPS. And like I said, we're only 7 hours away. I don't know how much that affects the rates, as opposed to shipping across the country. I'm sure there's a difference, but it is kind of interesting how that's all worked. Prismatic powder coaters CEO used to work for UPS, so they have negotiated some of the lowest rates in the business. Yeah, I just wish that they... I can appreciate they have some of the lowest rates in the business. I just wish they were faster at shipping it out. I guess that's not UPS's fault, clearly. Rich, I paid an extra $12 for 2-day shipping, and it still took a week. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, the shipping was 2 days. I bet. Have you ever powder coated candy hood over chrome? Oh, candy gold over chrome. Yeah, I have a video actually. If you go in to my videos, I have one that I did it over. I want to say it was like polished stainless, and then one I also did it over chrome powder to kind of show you guys the difference. I was actually going on the exact same coffee machine. It was very strange. Oh, maybe that was motorcycle parts in a coffee machine. There's a lot of gold in it, and if you search gold on my thing, you'll definitely find it. On the looking for the powder thing, contact your local competition. I swap other companies here and there. Local competition? Is that what you're saying, Michael Sims? Randy, if you're seeing this, be better. Randy. Who's Randy? I don't know what that says. Randy, if you're seeing this, be better. Oh, you're talking about Randy, the guy. Sorry, our terrible sales rep. Yeah, it's been a thing that's been addressed. I don't even know how many times, and he's just dog shit at it. I mean, couldn't be worse. Doesn't even put orders through half the time. We have to call him multiple times to place one single order. It's a nightmare. It's the worst thing I've ever had to deal with. I'm on the fence as to if we even want to do powder coat since I hate the sandblasting. That's how I started. So I didn't sandblast any of my own parts for the first 10 years. No. 7 years, something like that. I don't remember. A long time. I lucked out and I had multiple places around me that did sandblasting, so I could bring them wheels or motorcycle frames or valve covers, whatever, and they would blast them for me. Sometimes while I waited, sometimes I'd drop them off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, kind of a thing. I don't know if that's an option where you are. That was in Utah, and there was lots of those available. Stan, I agree. Pacific Northwest, Spokane Valley. Okay, yeah. That's the Northwest. Not the good part, but I'm just kidding. Just got started doing powder. Is brass harder than other substrates to coat? No. The one thing on brass, though, if you're doing cast brass especially, brass sheeting doesn't seem to have this problem. I don't know what you're coating necessarily. Cast brass does need to be outgassed for significantly longer because it's cast at such a low temperature. There tends to be a lot of impurities in the metal. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to outgas it, a traditional part of that size for an hour, maybe do that for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, just to avoid problems that you'll eventually have. After I finally get this next box, I will have used 80 pounds on the stang job. That's another reason I'm thinking about the upgrade. Wait, 80 pounds? 80 pounds of powder? On what? I'm so curious about this now. Because 80 pounds, Ray, is... that's a lot of powder. I've done jobs that I've used 50 or 55 pound boxes, but I mean it was a lot, and I was using an Optiflex. So I'm super curious. Don't mind me while I just sit here in silence. If you guys have more questions, by the way, I have like another 15-ish minutes. I'm going to click this. Hopefully it doesn't make any sound. It's going to, of course. Man, I've seen a couple people have messaged me on here. Just so you know, I'm not ignoring you. I just haven't been looking at my phone, obviously. 40 electrical boxes for docks and harbors department down in Ketchikan. Wow, that's pretty crazy. What is it? Tell me more about the job, kind of. I guess, like, what are you doing prep-wise, and then what's the powder? I assume if it's down on docks and harbors, you got to be doing some sort of good primer, obviously. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what we're up to in likes. Can anybody tell me? We're at least over like 20. There was like 40 something people in here. I would at least try to get like 20 likes. Mine still says 3, but it doesn't update until I close this out. Cloud white. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing... It's kind of strange. I mean, if you're just doing a bright white, I mean, cloud white's fine. Why would you not use big box stuff? Is that because you said you couldn't get it where you were? I mean, unless they specifically needed cloud white. I want to say that cloud white, though, is just a RAL. So, a little pro tip. Prismatic has a number of colors that are just RAL colors, RALs. They're not cheap or anything, but I'm saying if you wanted to match you could go to another big box company and get the same color in larger quantity for cheaper, because obviously Prismatic doesn't do discounts. Discounts on quantity, I should say. Wait, Maui Powder Works, are you still in here? What were you saying about the EPA thing? Somebody's suing somebody? I think I mentioned something, but I don't know if that was when the mic went silent or not. I am very curious about it. Oh, you didn't know you would use this much. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair then. Can you use automotive clear on powder? So, I would assume no. So here's the thing. I used to powder coat dirt track cars, like dirt modifieds or something. I used to powder coat the sheet metal on those just in black or white a lot of the time, because their painters for those would tell me that paint sticks really well to powder coat. But I believe that's prepping the powder to accept paint, if that makes sense. So I obviously wouldn't be able to do that with chrome. If you're worried about chrome, acrylic clear is really your best bet. If you can't utilize an acrylic clear, I would use Tiger Spangle clear. There's nothing else really better. Yeah, but Tom, can you prep it first or no? I don't know anything about paint. Obviously, well, I don't paint anything. I don't know anything about paint for a reason. Let's see. How necessary is using an OG outgas primer on some cast aluminum? I'm doing timing covers and intake, and I'm worried about cheap Eastwood can't handle 3 coats. So on newer stuff like that, so the downside of the timing covers and intake and stuff on a VQ, they get a lot of oil on them. They're constantly dealing with oil. That being said, holy crap, a green name in here, Parker. You're still a member? Thanks, Parker. I appreciate your support. An outgas primer, you realistically can probably just outgas the shit out of those parts and be perfectly fine. I would say if it's a part that gets submerged in salt water a lot or exposed to salt water a lot or chemicals a lot outside of oil, I understand that there's going to be oil. I would just outgas the shit out of it until there's no more oil leaking out, and you'll be fine. It's my opinion. That's the best way to do it. I powder coated my Harley 17 years ago. That is what got me started. Oh, that's cool. You probably had to, because the quality of the stuff on all the Harley stuff is always... maybe 17 years ago it probably wasn't nearly as bad. It's got the worst chrome plating by far. I think I already mentioned that in this live, though. Chemical companies are getting together to file a lawsuit next week. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm sure they were, because they knew that methylene chloride was going to be being ditched. The thing about it, it's not like I'm horribly against methylene chloride. I think everybody here knows I pushed rim strip very hard for years. There are better alternatives, and let's be honest, during the whole like COVID nonsense, or I'm probably not supposed to say that, during the whole ick situation, there was no access to methylene chloride, and it was hosing everybody. And then the prices got astronomical, and I just think there was no reason that no reason for any of that. The whole pandemic thing, obviously, but we don't need to get into that. I just think that made methylene chloride so expensive and in such demand that all these other chemical companies were forced to go look at other options. And as soon as they started doing that, they started coming up with really good options. So, I mean, rim strip has its place. Methylene chloride based strippers, B17, some of those have their place. I don't recommend them anymore. Dang, I missed it. What's up, Sean? Well, I mean, I didn't miss it technically. I'm gonna do it for like another 10 minutes. Oh, I'm glad the oven works, Parker. Yes, prep like a body shop, scuff, paint, and clear. Well, that's what I'm saying, Tom. He was asking about doing it over chrome powder, and so you wouldn't be able to scuff it and then clear it. I mean, you could scuff the chrome powder, but you'd be really disappointed. Urethane clear over sanded powder coat does. Yeah, you guys, I'm sorry. I should have been clear. I wasn't saying that you can't do automotive clear over something. I'm saying that it does require the prep work ahead of time. The question was, can I put automotive clear over chrome powder? And the answer technically is no, unless you want to scuff it, and then there's no point in having the chrome powder. Hopefully that clears that up. Powder, the black powder, orange, white, and clear. I think I'm giving you $4 a month for like 3 years. Dang, Parker, I'm rich now, huh? Okay, thank you, Tom and Sean. Parker saying hi to Tom. Want to switch to an EcoStrip setup, but not being able to use those 95. So, David, give it like a week. There's going to be a video on the channel that's going to be showing the new setups from Express Chem that utilize, I don't know how big the drum is, the barrel. It's like a giant stainless barrel. I want to say maybe it's 110 gallon. It feels like it's even bigger than that though, because we put 90 gallons in it and it didn't fill it. It was near the, I mean, not near the top. It was usable, and we could submerge parts most of the way into it. But they have a setup coming out that uses strip heaters, and it's a great setup. You guys have seen it a little bit on my channel in the past. I did the second strip video. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's stripping wheels in, like 15 to 20 minutes on most sets of wheels. I put in a valve cover today that had dry lock primer, 2 coats of powder, and clear. And it stripped that, and that was on a sandblasted valve cover. And it stripped that in 15 minutes, completely bare. Which, I mean, that dry lock primer tends to not strip super fast. It did some Chinese powder coat, and some guy brought in some eBay parts. Had some Chinese powder coat, and it stripped those in like 5 minutes. So this setup works really well. It does have to be heated. We run it at, I think, 180 degrees. But give me like a week. I'll have a video up, and then their kits will start going up on their site on Express Chem, and you'll be able to get them from them. And I have been absolutely in love with the one that we have from them. So something to keep in mind. Thank you. I'll be doing it this weekend, and I'm worried they're pretty dirty. I mean, you don't have to soak them in degreaser. Spray them down with degreaser, pressure wash them, and then put them in the oven and see if you can bake all the oil of it. They're decent castings. They're a little bit porous, but the casting itself is pretty good. So when you start heating them up, you'll see little pins of oil coming out. Sandblast that, put it back in there, and make sure they don't come back out, and you'll be good to go. 12-week wait list, but it wasn't their fault. Also, freight trains were slow. Overall, it was transportation was half the problem. The other half was supply chain. Yeah, the problem is I'm still hearing people talk about supply chain problems due to, the cough or whatever we're calling it now. I'm over all of that. It caused me a bunch of grief, which some of you know. Partially my fault, I guess, but also, everything being shut down caused me a bunch of grief. So I'm over it with all that. Parker, I need to get the new Express Chem setup. That is true. Yeah, the new strippers seem to be as good or better than B17 around ship. Yeah, methylene chloride is no joke. Like, the fumes from that are brutal. The weird kind of fume stuff that happens with EcoStrip is annoying. It's not terrible fumes. It does smell. It's kind of sweet, like a sickly smell. I'm told that putting mineral oil on top of it makes a huge difference. It hasn't seemed to make a difference for me unless I'm just not putting enough. I feel like I'm putting too much mineral oil on top of it. But we're going to be changing out the contents of it. We're actually cleaning it and adding new contents to it, and then I'm going to be putting a thicker layer of mineral oil on top of it this week sometime so I can finish that video. And I'll tell you guys if that works better or not, because right now I have no idea. We got like 3 more minutes, guys, if anybody has any more questions. I know we've been going for like an hour. I'm going to be doing these probably once a week or something close to that. I might be doing them every other week and then doing a members only thing. You can still become a channel member now, but I wouldn't suggest it. I'm going to be changing the channel membership, which is going to clear out all the people that are currently channel members, like people like Parker. So like the names that you see in this that are green means that Parker is like a supporting member. We're going to clear those out to have new stuff and new ways to support the channel, and just something for you guys to keep a lookout. JS Coatings, what's up, man? Thanks a lot for the feedback, brother. Helped me get Three Rivers powder coating started. Watching a long time. Michael Sims, where's Three Rivers powder coating? We have Three Rivers here in Washington, like a place called Three Rivers, but I assume that there's those lots of places. It's not just Washington. Yeah, Tom, I agree. EcoStrip doesn't evaporate as fast as any of the methylene chloride stuff. The cost factor per barrel is higher, but the overall usage is tenfold better. Yeah, it is significantly better. Oh, Michael, you were the one that was in Kelso. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I figured this out. Don't worry. I felt a little bit nervous doing this. I haven't done one of these in a really long time, and I don't mind speaking in front of people or in front of a camera or whatever. It just felt weird because I didn't have all my normal setup. I'm sure this looks a little different than my previous setup. This does actually still... I don't know if you guys remember. I used to have Bentley. I don't know if you can actually see. I might be able to turn this. I had this giant painting of Bentley. Was my background for a long time at the shop in Utah, and that just happens to also be sitting in here kind of temporarily right now. But I'm going to be changing the look of this, so that'll get better. Do you have any hat washers? Sten has my hat washers. I don't know if Sten's still in here or not. Wheel Clear from Colombia. Have you tried it? They say it doesn't contaminate your system like other acrylic powders. Here's the thing. I know that people talk about acrylic powder contaminates everything. I actually started to make a video about this exact same thing, but I could not get acrylic powder to contaminate my parts. And so I don't know if it's the acrylic powder that I'm using, and maybe it's different. I think mine's from like Pro Powder Supply. That sounds right. I don't know if that's real or not. I'm blanking on the name, but I think it's Pro Powder Supply. That acrylic clear doesn't seem to have the problems that other ones did, or something. I don't know. I tried like not cleaning the hose out or not running plugs through the hose. I would just blow it out. I was trying to get some level of acrylic contamination on my parts, and it would not work. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I couldn't get it to happen, so I stopped making the video for it. I do have a lot of videos kind of coming out, some stuff I've been working on. I'm going to be going to a video every Monday that is probably going to be kind of a Motivation Monday theme, but what it's going to do is just be a bunch of footage from the previous week, from projects the previous week that I didn't make full videos on. And maybe occasionally some of it will be ones that I did make full videos on, but different footage that I didn't use in the full videos. So there'll be a chance that on Monday you could watch a video that is all the stuff I did the previous week, and then there'll be references to videos that have that full project in it. Thought that might be, I guess, useful. Plus, it's just an extra, like, I guess, like, bonus video, so to speak. We're going to be going back to, like, 3 videos a week. I figured I tried to do the 30, like one a day for April. Failed, did 20, I think. I don't know if this one counts. Whatever, 21. But I figured out that I can easily do 3 videos a week. I'm going to have a members section where I'm going to have a 4th video every week that is only for members. That maybe eventually will go to the public, but it would be like way down the road. But I'll get into the whole like members thing and the Patreon. I'm almost done setting up the Patreon. I just had it forever. I'm just trying to figure out the way that makes it beneficial for all of you guys. I've had tons of people ask me for Patreon and tons of people ask me for like more member benefits. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that and make it something that's beneficial. I mean, it takes me a lot of time to do all that extra stuff, and that, that's, I guess, the benefit is like you pay for that, so then I'm making something on the time that I spend. But I want it to be a really good balance. I want you guys to be able to get a lot out of it. I know there's a couple other powder coating Patreons that are questionable in that regard, and I want it to be useful. I think this is, I think still the biggest powder coating channel, like powder coating instructional channel on YouTube, and I'd like to keep it that way. We're getting super close to 20,000. So if you guys know like powder coaters or people that are interested in powder coating, be sure to tell them to come over to the channel and subscribe. If you guys turn on notifications, you'll get a heads up every time I post a new video or go live. If you're still in here and you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. And yeah, I guess we'll end this video this time. I have a video coming out, not Wednesday, Thursday. So not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. There'll be a new video coming out on the channel. And then there'll be one over the weekend that's going to be kind of explaining all the membership stuff. And then we'll jump into doing like 3 videos a week for you guys. So, yeah, Authentic's Go Peaks brand is really the only one to use, by the way. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Hit that like button on your way out, and we'll see you next time.